Welcome back to your Networth's Network. I'm your host, Corey McNabb, and this is a networking style podcast where we bring up special guests, learn about them, learn about their business, and figure out how we can all work together. My goal in life is to rise to a place of excellence, and I want to bring you with me. So that being said, let's introduce our special guest, Mr. Brandon Zitting.
Hey, Corey, how's it going?
It's good, Brandon. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. So a lot of times, Brandon, when I'm interviewing people, for the most part, I've already talked to them before, but this is the first time, guys, if you're watching this, we're both getting this information for the first time. Okay, so pretty exciting. So Brandon, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about where you're at now, how you got to where you're at now, and where you're going from here.
Absolutely. So I am a new real estate investor, and I am a serial entrepreneur. And so I have spent quite a bit of time doing a lot of different kinds of ventures. Still looking for that one golden nugget to really make something successful, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is still W-2 employee, still trying out different things, but excited to get into real estate.
Okay. So what's your W-2? What do you do? What do you focus on?
Sure. So I am a project manager for a finance operations department in a utility billing company. So kind of a bit of a mouthful there, but probably the best way to describe it is I work with our accounting department and try to make things a little bit more efficient for them.
Okay, so are you like an accountant yourself? Do you handle money at all, or you just help with the systems?
More help with the systems. I've got an accounting degree. I never wanted to be an accountant, so
Gotcha.
I wanted the financial background because I ultimately wanted to be able to run my own business.
Okay, so you like spreadsheets and all that type of stuff?
More I tolerate them.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so you're a project manager for your W-2. You said you're a serial entrepreneur. Go into detail about that a little bit. What kind of things have you gotten into? Were they successful? Were they not? Give us a little background.
Sure. I have done a bunch of different things. I think the first thing I ever tried was creating a classified ads website when I was living in Colorado. I'd run into a really nice classified ads website that I'd used when we were living in Utah, and there was nothing like it in Colorado. So spent a lot of time just kind of building that up with some partners, and didn't really we got it to the point where we launched, and we had a lot of people that were interested in it, and then life kind of got in the way and it died. So that was the first venture into entrepreneurship. Also have done whiteboard animation, have done digital marketing, have done Amazon, FBA, and latest venture before this was getting into AI as a consultant for small businesses.
Okay, so you tolerate spreadsheets,
Yeah.
but looking at your past, almost everything has been digital.
Yes.
Okay, so jumping into real estate, it's going to be a little different. I mean, not necessarily, because there is a heavy digital aspect to it.
Yep.
I definitely think you could be of value there, especially with your history and experience. When I had asked if you like spreadsheets, sorry, there's fruit flies will get in everywhere, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Um, anyways, when I had asked if you were in spreadsheets, I was actually just recently talking to someone who they're in need of an integrator.
Okay.
And, I don't know if you've read Rocket Fuel yet or not.
Not yet. Not yet.
I definitely recommend it to kind of figure out if you're more integrator, more visionary. There is a lot of visionaries.
Yeah.
Not so much integrators. So whenever people find an integrator, especially if you're dedicated to it and you're like, you know what, this is what I want to do. Oh, there's gonna be a lot of people wanting you to work with them.
People grab you with both hands.
Yeah.
And not let go.
Yeah. So I definitely recommend figuring out whether you're more integrator or visionary. And if you're more integrator, hit me up again. I'll connect you with his name is TJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
For
I've looked into both of them. I haven't quite decided where I'm at. Um, when I've worked with different partners, I've kind of been on one side with some of them and on the other side with other ones. So I've kind
Now
of
it's rare, but there are some people that are like could go 50-50 on either visionary or integrator. So
yeah.
I am definitely more visionary. I can get sucked into a spreadsheet, but even after I get done whatever I was doing, I
Uh-huh.
don't feel like I've accomplished anything.
Yeah, I get that.
Um, but okay, so you just got into real estate,
Uh-huh.
and you just joined Sub 2, correct?
Yep.
Okay. How did you go from AI consulting to real estate in Sub 2? How did that work?
I think part of it comes with, I think I've got a little bit of ADHD. um, saw saw an ad on Facebook. I actually got into a couple other different mentorships before I ended up in Sub 2. So there was one called Paper Flips, and that was the initial one that I got into. And that one I think is by Dolmar Cross. I think he's got another A&E type show similar to Pace.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I kind of jumped into with both feet, and his focus there was almost exclusively on wholesaling. And so got into that, got interested in it. And then as I was kind of learning more about real estate and about different ways to, I guess, make a positive impact, I had a friend who was part of the Gator program, and he had mentioned Pace's programs. I kind of started to look into it, and realized I wanted to be able to expand my offering so that I wasn't just focused on lowballing everyone that I could come across and hoping that someone would go for it.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Okay, so in that other mentorship, have you, or since that other mentorship, have you done a deal yet, or are you still looking for your first one?
I've gotten a property under contract, and then that one fell through, and I've had another couple that have been in the hopper, I guess, so to speak. And then I've got one that I got under contract this past week, and that one is kind of top of mind right now. That's the one I'm looking to be able to be able to pass off and find a buyer for.
Okay. So tell us about that deal. What you got
Sure.
going on?
So it is a property that was actually on Zillow, listed with an agent. I actually got interested in this property. So it's actually a local property here in West Virginia. I actually got interested in it before I ever got into real estate. Every once in a while, I'll just kind of peruse Zillow, just because, just kind of fun to do every once in a while. And I ran across this property, and it is a single family home, single family residence with 3 studio apartments all behind it, all on the same plot. And the residence itself is 6-bedroom, 2-bath, and then they've got the 3 studio apartments. And I think originally they had it listed for like 300, and then they had dropped it down. And I actually looked into it. I felt like it was such a good deal that it might be worth, selling our own house, moving into that, and just using the rentals. And long story short, neither my wife or I wanted to move, and we didn't really want to uproot the kids. And so that kind of fell by the wayside. But I was still just like, God, this is such a good deal. Like, what can I do to make something happen to get this? And so I started looking into different ways to do it as an investment property, and that kind of continued over a couple months, and they still hadn't sold it, and they had dropped the price a couple more times, and I looked into doing it creatively, seeing if they'd be willing to do sub 2, do seller finance, even looked into assuming the loan. And long story short, there the owners, they had split up, and they just didn't want to deal with it anymore. They didn't want to be tied to the house, so they didn't want to do anything creatively. And so at that point, I'm just like, you know what? We're just going to try and get this under contract, wholesale it, and see if we can pass it off to someone who can make it worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of the plan now. It's a property that's in kind of a touristy area of West Virginia. So West Virginia is known for their a lot of their outdoor activities. So you've got rock climbing, you've got the New River Gorge Bridge, which is pretty famous, and then you've got world-class whitewater rafting. And so all those different touristy things led me to believe, this might be a great Airbnb type property for people that want to do family reunions. They want to get together, have a place to go to, kind of a central site, and then be able to disperse during the day and go do some of these great outdoor activities.
Mm-hmm. So you said it was a 6-bed,
2-bath,
2-bath, and then it had 3 studio apartments.
Yep.
Are they separate buildings?
Yes, they all have separate entrances.
But it's one building with 3 entrances.
There is one. So the house itself has one of the studio apartments, I guess, attached to the house, and then there's a separate building that has an upper apartment and a lower apartment.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you're trying to get it under contract right now.
No, it's under contract. I'm just looking for a buyer.
Oh, okay. So what is the price you would want to sell it at?
So I'm looking to sell it for 275. The AVM on it is, I think, between 270 and 280, but the the cash flow on it, depending on how you wanted to run the mix, is anywhere between, I think, 3,100 a month and like over $6,000.
Okay. Um, and this is just a cash deal?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I won't ask for the address right now, but what is the zip code?
Sure. Zip code is, I think it's 25801. Let me double check. Yes, 25801.
Okay. All right, cool. So, okay, that's nice. And that zip code, studio apartments. Wait a minute. Yes, studio apartments look like they could go for around 1,000 a month, long term.
Yeah, that's the numbers I've been pulling up.
And that's 3. So yeah, I'll keep an eye out if I see anybody wanting a cash deal, specifically in Virginia or just whatever.
What West Virginia?
West Virginia, sorry, West Virginia. I will shoot them over to you, brother.
Yeah, that'd be great.
See if we can get that deal sold for you.
Sounds awesome.
So you got a deal under contract now, searching for a buyer. So actually, not, let me say this, guys. If you're watching this and you're like, "Oh, hey, I'd love to buy that deal," reach out to Brandon. We're gonna give you a way to contact him here at the end of this show. So either skip to the end and find the contact, or watch the whole thing. Um, but where do you go from here? Is your sole focus on this one property, or are you still out there looking for deals?
I'm still out there looking for deals. So I've got another one in Utah that I am debating jumping in and making an offer on. So this one is kind of interesting. So they've got this is another one that is listed, and it's in a town called Logan. And Logan is a small to medium sized town. They've got a university there, Utah State University. And this property is on Main Street, so it's got a lot of traffic going through. And I had looked into getting the property just as is, flipping it, going that route. And the real estate agent had told me that the town is looking to use some redevelopment funds kind of in that area. And so with that one, if we were able to get, I think they've got the owners of that property also own a property not adjacent to it, but one over. And so if we were able to get that property, their second property, and then the one in the middle, we could look into doing a commercial deal. I think when I spoke with the town manager, they're open to pretty much anything in using those RDA funds. But the numbers obviously have to work on our end. But that's something I've kind of been playing around with. I haven't taken it super far. Part of me just wants to say, you know what, just go after the one property, flip it, be done with it. The other part of me is like, maybe it's worth spending a little bit more time, putting a little bit more effort into it to see, if we've got some commercial developers out there that might be interested in taking on a deal like that. And if so, I think the realtor has already spoken with the owner in between, and they are open to selling. So it's an option there. It's just not something I've decided whether I want to pull the trigger on.
Gotcha. So I would recommend that you reach out in the Sub 2 Facebook group. Just kind of explain, hey, love to chat with somebody, bounce ideas off somebody, especially someone that knows more in the Utah market.
Yeah.
Because, dude, there have been a number of times that I've been like, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't know what to do here. I don't know, what could possibly happen. And then I'll make a post and people are like, let's talk. Here, I got ideas. Boom, boom, boom. So definitely reach out, see if anybody has advice. Because, they might say, hey, yeah, for you, just focus on that. Or they might say, I'll partner with you. Let's do something big. There's no telling.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I think that's one of the things that I've been really excited about. And that was really one of the things that kind of drew me into Sub 2 to begin with, was seeing all the activity on Pace's free group and just how much involvement there is between members of that, whether they're part of Pace's programs or not. There's just so much willingness to be the go-givers and that kind of thing. And that was something that I didn't find in the mentorship that I signed it up to before this. And that was something I was really looking for, was that community. And I was disappointed, to be honest, because I feel like that's one of the biggest things that you're looking for when you're looking for a mentorship is you need help. You want people who've been there before, and you need communication. Like, you feel like you're out on an island if you don't have constant feedback, you don't have people that are willing to help. And even if you reach out to them and they maybe begrudgingly offer some assistance, they're not the types that you're going to want to reach out to again.
Yep. Yeah, for the most part, we don't do that here in Sub 2.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So sweet. All right, so you're looking at a couple other deals now. Where, like, what's your goal, right? You just recently got into Sub 2, and you got to kind of make a plan for where you're going to be in 3 months, right?
Yeah.
90 days, whatever. So what does that look like for you?
So my goal is to be, and I don't know if this is a 90-day thing. I would love to make it a 90-day thing, but my goal is to be to a point where I've got enough consistent income to drop the W-2. And my thinking around that is I would like to have 2 years worth of my current W2 income in the bank. And then I feel like if I'm at that point and I'm getting consistent deals, that I would feel comfortable, taking the jump off the cliff.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's a thing that I can pull off in 90 days or if we're looking at 6 months or, what the case is. But my goal is definitely, or my first goal is definitely to get to the point where I can do this full time, be done with the W2, and really turn it into a growing company, really start to scale. I've got a couple of VAs. I'd like to start probably hire another one soon, but then really start to build a team with, an actual transaction coordinator, someone who is better at the closing, someone who, just building the whole team.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, and that's still for wholesaling?
No, I mean, I want to include wholesaling with it, but I ultimately the buy and hold, I think, is for me is where I want to get into, and that's another one of those draws with creative financing, is just being able to build the long-term wealth, the
Right.
stuff that starts the passive income.
Well, while you're wholesaling, if you get to the point where you feel more comfortable getting creative deals under contract, I'm looking to buy, especially in Georgia and southern Tennessee.
Okay. Just
Creative deals.
any kind of creative deals, or going in a specific direction?
So my method is, because I'm still looking for my first buy. So whatever I buy, the next thing that I buy has to be at least 1 unit more.
Okay.
But right now we're looking creative deals, whether it's subject to or seller finance, as long as I'm those that have been following me. Yes, I'm stealing from Dan Grove, who was 2 episodes ago. As long as it breaks even for a long-term rental. So that means if the PITI plus 20% equals the expected rent for long-term rental.
PITI plus 20%.
Yep. And that accounts for management, CapEx, stuff like that.
Okay. And the thinking behind that is that even if it's just breaking even, that you're going to get appreciation, and so ultimately you're still going to come out ahead.
Absolutely.
Sounds like a good plan.
So we're also looking into, and this is why I love doing these podcasts, because last episode brought on, now I'm even considering co-living, but
Okay.
I still got to do a little more research on that before I'm officially going to say, oh yeah, as long as it works as a co-living, I'll buy it. But yeah, so that's where we're at right now. Mainly,
So are you the type that wants to immediately pass it off to a management company and just be hands off at that point?
that's where I will get to. But I know at the beginning I'll be doing a lot of it. And mainly, I think it's important to do some of it yourself.
Yeah.
Especially if you have the time. Because that way you have a standard that you can then go find a company And, if instead of just being like, okay, I don't even know how to manage a property, so I'll let you do it your way, you can be like,
Yeah,
hey, here's what I expect.
that's fair. Absolutely.
So, but yeah, man, if you start looking in Georgia or around Chattanooga.
Hey, I like Chattanooga. I used to. Well, I grew up in Alabama. I grew up in Huntsville. So,
Okay,
and my grandparents lived in Maryville. So Chattanooga was halfway in between.
there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where we're looking.
Are you there in Chattanooga, or are you elsewhere?
No, so I'm in. Have you ever heard of Helen, Georgia?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's one of 6 German towns in the country, um,
No.
which I just found out recently. Um, lived here my well, not here specifically, but I'm basically just south of Helen, about an hour and a half north of or northeast of Atlanta.
Okay,
So,
you're maybe 5 hours from me then.
okay, that ain't bad.
Yeah, we'd probably meet up sometime, get to know each other better.
Absolutely. Well, let's see. Okay, so now we know where you came from. We know what you're doing now, and we have an idea of what you want to do. I think that pretty much covers my questions. Is there anything else you want to share before we move on to the last part of our show?
Um, I mean, I guess the biggest thing for me is just I'm excited to learn. I'm excited to learn from people's different experiences. I want to help out. I want to be able to find deals, uh, team up with people, VC, and or is that the right
You mean JV?
JV? Thank you. VC, venture capital, JV, kind of same thing, right? Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Excited to get to know people better and do some deals together.
All right. Well, sweet. Well, then, if that's it, let's move on to the last part of our show.
Yeah.
All right. So, just a few questions I ask every show. First off, what made you want to be on the podcast today?
I think just networking in general. Like I want to get to know people. I want to be able to get my name out there and find people that are like-minded, because I feel like that is one of the biggest things that helps each of us to be able to reach our goals.
Absolutely.
Collaborate together and be able to uh, see each other succeed. And so I guess just that was probably the biggest thing was, start growing my network and start getting to know people, find some good friends and work together.
There you go. That's the whole reason I started this podcast. So
Yeah.
that's perfect. Um, and now, so second question, which I know this can be totally variable about how you view it.
Mhm.
But what is your current net worth?
I would say probably about 100K.
100K. All right.
Yeah, actually, sorry, it's higher than that. Throw in the house, maybe 300K.
Nice. That's a good job, bro.
Yeah,
All right. Third question. What would you say are your strengths?
I would say I think my strengths come down to being able to put myself in other people's shoes. And so sometimes for me that I don't know that mean, it's probably something I just kind of default to when I'm getting to know someone, try and put myself in their shoes, try and see where they're coming from, because I feel like when you're working together with someone and you know where they're coming from, it's easier to meet them in a place that is beneficial for both of you. So I think communication, getting to know people, and trying to put myself in their shoes helps me to build relationships.
Nice. So you got a decent theory of mind.
I don't know what that means, but yeah, we'll roll with that.
It's basically what you said. It's being able
Okay.
to view things from other people's perspectives.
Okay.
So
Emotional intelligence, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So then on the flip side of that, what are your weaknesses?
I would say my weakness, probably the biggest one, is I'm not a huge. I hate selling.
You hate what?
I hate selling.
You hate selling.
Yeah. So I try and look at, it totally doesn't work with being an entrepreneur, but I try and look at it as more of a connecting with someone than I'm just trying to be out here and be a used car salesman with you and hope that
So
you know,
you have some limiting beliefs around selling, not sailing.
yeah.
Different.
And I mean, I know it works. I know there are great people that are great salesmen, saleswomen. Um, but I don't look at myself as that. And so I think getting past that and getting over that is one of the challenges that I am trying to work on daily.
Okay. So you have a wife, right?
I do.
And you have kids, right?
I sure do.
So at some point you were a great salesman.
You mean convincing her to marry me?
Yeah.
That works.
And that's ultimately what it is. Everything that you could say desire, a lot of people view that differently, but like if you want something, there is either you have to convince yourself, you've got to sell yourself,
Yeah.
or you've got to convince, in this case, most people, your wife. You got to sell your wife on that thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have the ability. So what is the difference between those things that you have achieved and things that you're like, I don't know if I could do that?
I think maybe, I mean, obviously it comes down to education. That's one of the first things. If you don't know what you're talking about, you feel a lot less confident in trying to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be passionate about it, because if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're not going to stick to it. It's not going to be fun to sell.
Not only that, but if you don't have that enthusiasm, that passion for it, the person you're trying to sell to isn't going to believe that you actually believe in the product.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think one of the first things I was good at selling, and I didn't actually do this as a sales job, but do you remember those zebra pens?
Yes.
I am a firm believer in zebra pens compared to pretty much any other type of pen, and I will tell you till the day is long, like why you should purchase a zebra versus something else.
Okay. Well, that's more PG than I thought. What I thought you were going to say. So that's good.
That's good.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So your weakness is that you need more confidence in selling.
Yeah, that's
Because
probably
pretty
good.
much pretty much everything is sales in
Yeah.
some sense. Okay. So what do you think would help you most with that? Training, just being around people who are doing it, or do you need to do some soul searching first?
I think it's more like, I think getting on like the daily dial, that kind of thing, is going to be something that helps one with the just repetition, but also I think when you get around someone or when you get around a group of people that are all doing the same thing, you're starting to seek success, and you're excited for them, they're excited for you. That pumps you up and helps you to be able to be better at it. And I think that's probably my next step is, start jumping on some of those daily dial calls and getting a little better at the cold calling, and just more confident when speaking to a seller.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'll go ahead and tell you, I don't know if you've heard of the Sandler method yet. Have you?
I don't think so.
Okay. So that is the main method that we use in Sub 2. That's what's mainly taught.
Okay.
And it's basically a formation of questions, like
Okay.
when you ask certain things. Um, and it's heavily question based. It's not like, the classic "let me sell you this pen" type thing. It's not like, "Hey, you need this pen." It's like, "Okay, why do you need a pen?
Yeah.
Why, oh, your mom died and you've got to take over guardianship of your little brother or something. Well, you're gonna need a pen to sign those documents." You're like, that's an exaggeration, but you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's
Yeah.
finding out the motivation, the pain points, and then how you can solve the problem.
That's fair.
So,
Yeah, and I like that in the fact that it's not quite as salesy. It's more of, what's the problem? How can we fix it?
mm-hmm, absolutely. Well, awesome, man. I'm glad we were able to dive deep into that weakness.
Absolutely.
Um, so then, now that we have that information, what is something you need help with that's going to make you money in the next 30 days?
I think just find buyers. I'm starting to get a couple of deals that I can probably get under contract soon, and it's just going to be those dispositions. Once we find buyers, we can continue to build that list. Um, Everyone gets paid, right?
Yep. So there's two people that I know of that you can reach out to help you dispo.
Okay.
Um, one will be Joseph Mudd.
Joseph Mudd.
Yep, he's a regional leader out in Houston.
Okay.
And then the other one is a young kid, but he's killing it. His name is Lane Anderson.
Lane Anderson.
Yep, he's in Kansas City.
Okay. And do they do? Are they just regional, or they take deals pretty much anywhere?
So they'll, as far as I know, they'll help dispo a deal anywhere.
Awesome.
So
Perfect. I will definitely reach out to them.
awesome, man. Yeah, find them. They're both in Sub 2. So you
Cool.
can just search them up
Yeah.
in there. But yeah. So now we've come to the part where if you're a buyer and you want to buy that deal, how the heck are you going to get in touch with Brandon? What's the best way for them to reach out to you, Brandon?
Probably best way is going to be text me. I'm always on my phone, and you can reach me there, 385-367-4333.
There you go. Simple. You guys, you watched all the way, I hope. If not, go back and watch it again. Because there's some good points here you need to learn from. Well, Brandon, that's all I got, brother. I really
Hey,
appreciate you letting me take 45 minutes of your time.
absolutely. I really appreciate getting to know you a little bit better, Corey, and yeah, I feel like you're gonna be a great resource. So I hope you're okay if I reach back out to you again.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We'll exchange numbers right after this.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, unless there's anything else you got, I'm going to send you the back, close this thing up.
Sounds good to me, my friend.
All right. Thank you again, Brandon. Guys, that's our show. Tell me what you thought. What'd you think of Brandon? His backwards cap, chilling like a villain, being awesome, getting deals done. And you could be a part of that too. You could be assistance to him getting deals done. You could get some deals. Honestly, if I knew more about West Virginia, that deal sounds kind of good. I might have to look into it myself. So if you know more about West Virginia, you should probably jump on it before I buy it. That being said, guys, I've got to hit a button over here. Like and subscribe. Come back next week to the next person we have. I don't know who it is, but you'll find out. Peace out, guys. Peace be with you. Be safe. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week.